Today, we're going to unpack a pretty intense Twitter thread that really stirred things up in the Hindu American community. We're going to break down step by step how one group, the Coalition of Hindus of North America, or CoHNA, built a really detailed case against another group, Hindus for Human Rights, also known as HfHR.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with the tweet that started it all. You can see it sets a really strong tone right out of the gate. It's accusing HfHR of propping up controversial figures. And it gets specific, naming an activist, Pieter Friedrich, as someone who has supposedly made a career out of hounding Hindu Americans. This is pretty much the spark that lit the whole fire.
So, here's how we're going to walk through their argument. We'll start with that initial accusation, then we'll look at how the thread starts to question who HfHR really represents. After that, we'll examine the specific associations it critiques, and finally, we'll get into CoHNA's big concluding argument and what they want people to do about it.
All right, first up, let's really focus on that core accusation, the one that kicks this entire thing off.
So the main claim that CoHNA puts on the table is this, that HrHR doesn't just support what it calls bigoted, incendiary, and un-American rhetoric, but that it actually celebrates it. And for them, Pieter Friedrich is Exhibit A of this whole pattern of behavior. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. CoHNA then pivots to a more data-driven point. They move on from just talking about problematic associations to actually questioning the makeup of HfHR's leadership. The goal here seems to be to challenge whether they're an authentic voice for Hindus.
And this whole section really brings up a massive fundamental question you see in so many communities today, right? Who actually has the authority, the legitimacy, to speak on behalf of a huge, diverse group of people? CoHNA then tries to answer that question with their own analysis.
Okay, so the first piece of data CoHNA presents is this breakdown of the HfHR Advisory Board by religion. According to their numbers, out of 19 members, only 7 are identified as Hindu. That's less than half. And they present this as, key evidence to make you question HfHR's claim to represent Hindu perspectives.
And they don't stop there. They immediately follow up with the second chart, this time looking at the board's location. The thread claims that 14 out of the 19 advisory board members are actually based in India, not in North America. And the unspoken point here seems to be that HfHR isn't really the diaspora organization it claims to be.
And what's really cool here is that you can see the actual graphics they used in the Twitter thread. This is exactly how CoHNA laid out its data for everyone to see, using these simple donut charts to make a very quick, very visual argument about who's on HfHR's advisory board.
And this quote, which we pulled right from the thread, basically just sums up the whole point of their data dive. CoHNA is using its findings about the board's makeup to make a bigger argument for what it calls authentic representation, and to suggest that HfHR, well, it just doesn't meet that bar.
All right, let's move on to the next section and see how they build on this. After going after HfHR's internal makeup, the thread shifts its focus to the outside, really scrutinizing the organization's partners and who they associate with.
So the argument comes full circle, right back to Pieter Friedrich. CoHNA really hammers this point, calling him a longtime partner and speaker for HfHR. They're making his track record a central pillar of their whole case against the organization.
And for evidence, they point to this tweet from none other than Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. By bringing in a famous American civil rights leader, CoHNA is trying to add some serious weight and outside validation to their concerns about Friedrich's rhetoric.
And wow, this quote really shows you the heart of that condemnation. I mean, the tweet uses incredibly strong language like bigoted extremist rhetoric and hate speech. CoHNA then uses that powerful statement to really question HfHR's judgment for associating with Friedrich in the first place.
Then the thread drops what is, you could argue, its most detailed piece of evidence, this big, comprehensive infographic. It basically pulls together a whole bunch of allegations against Pieter Friedrich all in one visual. So let's break down what's in it.
The claims they lay out here are really serious, and they cover a lot of ground. They're alleging that Friedrich holds antisemitic and homophobic views, that he's called for Gandhi statues to be destroyed, and that he attacks Hindu American political leaders by accusing them of dual loyalty.
But the critique doesn't just stop with one guy. The thread then widens its net to include other partner organizations. It specifically calls out the Ambedkar King Study Circle and Equality Labs, claiming that they are also anti-Hindu groups that HfHR has worked with. So, after laying out all this evidence, piece by piece, from the board's composition to who their partners are, the thread starts moving toward its big finish, which is a really direct and forceful appeal to its audience.
In its final tweets, CoHNA basically wraps up its whole case. It makes this huge claim that HfHR has no support from any major Hindu organization anywhere in the world. They frame the whole issue as non-Hindus and what they call anti-Hindu folks trying to speak for all diaspora Hindus.
And this right here, this is the ultimate call to action. It's the key takeaway CoHNA wants to leave everyone with, a direct message aimed at policymakers. The thread ends by basically demanding that they make sure the Hindu community is represented only by what CoHNA defines as authentic Hindu voices.
When you step back from it all, this deep dive into one Twitter thread, it's not just about two organizations, is it? It's really a perfect case study of how these battles over identity, authenticity, and representation are being fought online every single day. And it leaves us with a really tough question for our time. In this global, digital world, how on earth do we figure out who truly gets to speak for an entire community?